Look at that, fancy.
Yep. Now we good? All right. Good evening. Scheduled meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Howe is called to order at 6:15 p.m. There is a quorum present. On the agenda for today, number one, discuss, consider, and act upon approving the minutes from the September 28th, 2023 meeting. For that, we just need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
A second. Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Number two on the agenda, discuss and consider and act upon a zone change request by property owner Frederick Price of 302 West Duke Street, Howe, Texas, for the purpose of a zoning request seeking amendments to the City of Howe zoning ordinance number 756 from SF2 to two-family residential district. All right, what discussion we have on that?
We sent 27 letters out to neighboring residences within 200 feet. We had only one response, but it was in opposition from Charlotte Jones on Duke Street. I do have some photos. When we get to that point, well, matter of fact, I'll hand them out. But in this situation, what they want to do is divide the property eventually and build a duplex on it, so it would be a change from SF2, single family 2 zone, to 2-family. And what they'll then have to do, if it's changed over to 2-family, they'll have to come back in front of the Board of Adjustment and divide the property for that in order to put the duplex on that property. There are some concerns with the width of the property for a 2-family. City requirements are 80 feet for a 2-family, and after they divide this property, it would only be 60 feet, so it would, require some challenges for side yards and things like that, parking. So I just wanted to give you that information here. They sent some pictures of their proposed duplex, or at least the one they have in Sherman, so I'll let y'all pass these around.
Monty, maybe you can answer the question. I drove by and looked at the property earlier. There is about a 100-year-old tree at the front. Does the city have any sort of ordinance preserving old trees like that, or are you aware of anything like that?
There is an ordinance, but I'm not up to date on what that would be on that property, that particular property. There also is a storm cellar, I believe, on that property as well.
I couldn't tell if that was on the property or if that was the neighbor's side yard, because there's a fence in between, like, the 302 Duke and then that storm cellar. So I wasn't sure exactly where the lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Belongs to the neighbor? Okay.
There you go.
Are you the okay, perfect.
Just a reminder, y'all would need to open a public hearing to allow anybody to speak, and then you have to close the public hearing on this.
Oh, okay. No, that's good. Can we open a public hearing? Because I would like to.
Yeah, let's open it.
Yeah.
Comments in public.
I had a couple of questions. Do you want to come up here, maybe? Sorry. I guess first of all, I'm kind of looking at these plans, it's hard to tell, but would you be able to possibly, do you think you would be possibly able to save that old tree, or do you think that would have to go?
Yes, the builder is willing to meet with y'all and adjust however he needs to adjust.
Okay.
And the duplex will be within the restraints of what he's allowed.
Okay,
He just wanted you
and-
to see an example of his work.
Yeah. And so, like, I drove up and down the street today, and it looks like everything is like ranch and like bungalow sort of style
There's some
homes in the
traditional,
neighborhood. It's
yes.
going to be similar architectural style
Yes.
based on these photos
Yes.
here.
And he said he also can adjust that as what y'all will allow.
Okay. And about what square footage would
He said that was going to be on what you could depend. Now, that's a rather large duplex there in Sherman. It will not be near that size, but he said he was willing to work with what you guys will allow
Okay,
and considering what he can fit in there.
okay. Anybody else have any questions for Tara?
I don't.
No.
I know 80 feet is the current city standard, and we're looking at cutting that down to 60 feet just because that's what's available.
Yes.
Do we know what the smallest property front we have currently in Howe is? Like, would this be the smallest property front? Or a single family too?
It's, yeah, from what we could find, we thought that 60 was the minimum.
Yeah. 60 is the minimum currently on single family, but there are some that are
Yeah, that
smaller,
are smaller, yeah.
grandfathered in.
That have been here a long time, yeah.
And this would be single story, you're not looking at?
No, it'll be single story,
Okay.
yes.
That's all the questions I really have as far as asking for public comment. You're the realtor?
Yes.
Is the
He's the property
possible-
owner.
But he's the property owner?
Yes.
Okay, is the potential buyer slash builder
He's
here?
out of town.
No, that's fine. Okay. I think I've got all the
Okay,
questions.
and he could get any information you need. I mean, I discussed with him thoroughly what he was gonna do, but he said he's happy to work with whatever y'all will allow him to do.
Okay.
I'm sorry, is there no interest in anybody building a single-family home there?
I mean, what he builds is really nice, y'all. Like, I went and looked at a couple of his properties, like, it's not gonna bring down the neighborhood. I mean, and if you've been down the street, there's some around the corner as well. There's duplexes over there.
Is that who built that triplex on
No,
Maple?
he's not, no.
Okay.
No, actually, his work is a little bit better than that.
No, I think
I guess my main concern is parking. It's already kind of a small, narrow lot, and that's a busy street, and
He was going to, my understanding, like I said, he said he's willing to adjust wherever y'all need him to, that he was gonna have a parking spot in front of each place. I mean, essentially, if that's still only 2 parking spots, that's likely what would be with a single-family residence as well.
so that's what I was curious too. I guess
Yeah,
the
you live over there?
situation of the duplex, like which way it orients. It sounds like it faces the north, faces Duke Street, instead of facing one of the larger like side yards.
Yes, I mean, that's what he would like to do. Again, he said he can adjust as what y'all will allow. He's pretty flexible, but, his intention are 1 per duplex, which like I said would be similar. You'd still have 2 parking spots for the single-family residence.
So you say like 1 vehicle would go in the
Yes,
driveway, and if they had
correct.
2 vehicles, it'd be in the street?
Well, what it is, it'll have a garage, and then,
Okay.
does that make
there you
sense?
go. Okay,
Okay.
Yeah,
That makes
that's
more
more
sense.
clarification,
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
thinking one in the
Yeah.
driveway,
He's like,
one
that
on the
makes,
street.
no,
Okay.
no. So they'll have a 1-car garage, and then obviously someone can
So
park
you
behind
could,
that.
4 vehicles, you could,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yes.
got it, I follow.
I don't think I have any other comments or questions for you. I don't know if it'd be outside public discussion, but there is right down the street there is some apartments or assisted living. Maybe Monty knows what that is.
It's the
Government
housing.
housing.
Yeah, government housing. So there is some sort of multifamily, 2-family in that neighborhood. I know we've had one objection, but right, I guess we could close public hearing
Yeah.
and go see if anybody wants to make a motion.
Okay.
I do have a quick question.
dear.
So on the bottom of the application, there's a line, it's from the copy, it's kind of cut off. It looks like it says potential buyer intends to build a duplex with, but I can't read that last
Can I
word.
see it?
Yeah. I didn't know if maybe Monty or somebody had the original. It's in the very bottom.
Their home is on the other half of it,
Okay.
but that's not our right. But that's what
Okay.
build what y'all will allow.
I do want to say, I didn't submit anything. I'm not opposed to splitting the property. I guess I'm personally opposed as concern for property values and just putting a duplex on that small, narrow property, but I don't feel like I can remain neutral, given that I live across the street, so I just want to tell you guys that.
I drove by and I took some pictures. I don't know if y'all had a chance to drive by. Okay, so, you know, it's kind of a D plot.
It is a D plot.
So, and there's not really a set architectural style on that street.
There's a mix.
So as long as,
Well, he's putting in is, I mean, it's cosmetically,
Yeah,
it's a
similar.
good quality build. And just to be honest with you, I don't think it will bring down the value. I mean, and I wouldn't just say
I
that.
don't think
okay.
anything's really going to bring down the value in this area for a long time.
Well, I mean, and honestly, that street looks better than it did years ago. okay?
Yeah.
And I hadn't been on it in years. It looks better than it did years ago. But like I said, what he's building, they're very nice. Like, I don't think it's going to bring down your value. I wouldn't try to, they're friends of mine. They live on the street right next door. I'm not going to try to do that to them either, because when you call me to sell it, I don't want to have a problem.
Right.
Okay. Any other public discussion before we close it?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll close the public discussion, and then now, anybody want to make a motion either way?
I'll make a motion to allow the change. I think it's the sort of things we need to fill in infill lots in town. But that's just my opinion.
Do we have a second? Second. Okay. Motion dies. Motion to not approve? I want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. All in favor? Just raise your hand, let me count them up. All right, 3, motion carries. All right, next on the list, discuss, consider, and act upon recommendation to the city council for the request to approve the Connection Park Addition preliminary plat being lots 1 and 2, Block A, consisting of plus or minus 13.47 acres of sand situated in the WA Park Survey, abstract number 925, City of Howe, Grayson, Texas, generally located on the north side of FM 902 at Enlow Road, City of Howe, Grayson County.
Last time y'all met, you approved the final plat. We didn't have the preliminary plat, so this is kind of just house cleaning, going back and redoing that. Just making sure we have all the bases covered.
Yep. Any discussion? Probably not. No. Okay. Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. All right, that is it for the agenda. So conclude the meeting of the planning and zoning at 9:28. Thank you. 6:28, wow. Yeah.
Has that been on the whole time? How embarrassing.
Even he missed
There's a little switch and I forget to turn it off.
Sorry, I'm still that takes.
Oh, the big kids are here. Thanks. Good, how are you? Every time I'm like, okay.
And that comes up.
If there's anyone that's wishing to speak before the council tonight, and if you haven't filled out a form, they're back there, please fill one out and get it to me. Thank you.
Everybody lock those curtains?
Well, we will about July.
Good evening. There being a quorum present, this special session of the Howe City Council is hereby called to order on Tuesday, November 14, 2023 at 6 p.m. under the Open Meetings Act of the state of Texas. Before, excuse me, 6:30? Pardon me, thank you, 6:30 p.m. Before we begin, please silent your cell phones and remove your hats, and let's stand for the prayer and the pledges, please.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the time that you've given us to come together. Lord, we just pray that as we seek what's best for this town, you will guide us, give us wisdom and knowledge. Help us, Lord, to seek your will in all that we do, and forgive us when we fail you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
After the pledge, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please be seated. The City Council invites citizens to speak to the council on topics not already scheduled for public hearing or on the agenda. Citizens may address the council for a maximum of 2 minutes. The council is unable to respond or to discuss any issues that are brought up during this section that are not on the agenda, other than to make a statement of specific factual information in response to a citizen's inquiry or to recite existing policy in response to the inquiry. When I call your name, would you please come up and give your name and address? Mr. Shields?
Good evening. My name is Gary Shields, and I live at 512 Jones Street here in Howe. So my topic for the council this evening is the importance of maintaining strict controls on our ETJ areas. These areas that ring the city are very important for the future growth of Howe. And so we need to look for the highest and best use of this acreage. And perhaps the best use of this acreage as it transitions eventually from farmland to something else would be to promote the growth of housing. We need rooftops. We all would like to see new businesses come into Howe, particularly a grocery store and other retail businesses that currently we have to go elsewhere and spend our money, so the city loses out on that sales tax revenue. And so only by growing our population will we attract the businesses that our citizens deserve and that the city needs. And so hopefully, as you consider requests from time to time regarding the ETJ areas, that you'll look for the highest and best use, which again would be to promote the growth of housing, whether it's single-family dwellings or multifamily dwellings. This would also increase the property tax base. And so the city could eventually look forward to having more revenue through property taxes. And with those additional businesses that come in, because most of these businesses look for a population number. And if we don't reach that number, then the businesses do not come. So it's essential that decisions that you make regarding the ETJ areas are focused on population growth. Once we reach that magic number, whatever it is for various businesses, they will want to come here. They want to establish their businesses because they know at that point that they can actually make a profit right here in Howe. So it's a win-win for the city, for the citizens, and for the businesses. Now, there's also certain types of businesses that we probably don't want to get into our ETJ areas. So it's important, again, for the city to maintain strict controls, find a way to control what's trying to come in, recognize those good things that would be for the benefit of the city and help those entities come in, but at the same time also recognize those entities, whatever they are, that would be bad for the city, that would be a detriment to the city for both short-term and long-term growth. And perhaps a good example of a bad type of business that we do not need would be something like a solar farm, which typically takes hundreds of acres that should be grown into houses, ends up being a very unsightly bunch of mess that has a reflection and glare and so forth that very few people benefit from. Whereas promoting the building of homes in our ETJ areas, that's a win-win across the board. That helps us to grow our population, our tax base. Businesses come here. You know, hallelujah will be the day when we actually have a grocery store. I can remember back when Howe had 4 grocery stores, so we've been going backwards for a long time. And it's essential for the city to find a way to maintain tight controls over our ETJ area, so we let in only those entities that would be a benefit to the city and to the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Akins?
Hi, my name is Janice Akins. My husband and I live on Paul Cemetery Road, out past Farmington. We have farmed in the greater Howe area almost 40 years, and we still do own our former home on Maple Street, and we raised our children there for 20 years. God willing, we will finish our earthly lives here in this small community that we call home. I appreciate your willingness and the opportunity to I appreciate your willingness to serve, especially during such a crucial time in the development of our community. Your time, effort, and personal sacrifice are sincerely appreciated. My address tonight is to encourage our council to continue to be diligent in retaining any influence and/or leverage it might have on its city boundaries and ETJs. Please seek available avenues to delay and/or granting the release of the ETJ, perhaps even filing an appeal. Currently, there are other cities which have filed appeals to Texas Senate Bill 2038. It is possible those appeals might cause that Senate bill to be overturned in time where the release of ETJs would not be mandatory. Until then, please hold on to the ETJs with all that is in your power. Giving up land or control of land within and near the city is not in the best interest of Howe. And I realize that we cannot control everything that happens in the ETJ. That does not mean that we have to roll out the red carpet to those or make it easy to plant things in the area that are not beneficial to the city. Howe has a very limited supply of land available, and that land needs to contribute to Howe. Should the solar farm go in, it may contribute electricity to our city or elsewhere in several years, but currently that is not a great contribution that Howe needs. People are, tax dollars are, water is. Howe's available land needs to contribute with human and financial resources. Some of you may think that I'm just a farmer's wife and I'm reluctant to see the disappearance of farmland. That would be correct, even though we have not and do not farm the land in question. If the cropland and/or land adjacent to our city has to disappear, the goal has to be a smart use of the available land for the future of those who call Howe home. While control of the ETJ may not be Howe's to have, we still have to do what we can to influence what goes there. Some of you may think I'm opposed to solar or renewable energy. That would not be correct. Solar energy has great potential and a place in our future, but not by utilizing hundreds of acres of prime real estate for 40 years next to a growing city. I emailed all of you today. There is a solar farm or two locally, and I encourage you to go look at them, see how they're kept up. And I sent the address or the location earlier. So thank you for your time and your due diligence, respectfully.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Jones.
Hello, I'm Holly Jones. I am the Troop 45 Boy Scout flag coordinator. I live outside on Old Highway 6. Our P.O. box is 313 here in Howe. I'm here today to address you about our flag storage. Our flag storage container is currently at Star Auto Body, and it has been for several years. It is accessed only by the Boy Scouts for our flag storage for the flag program. Recently, we've been asked to move this from Star property as he no longer has room for it. I'm asking the city to consider donating a portion of some property somewhere in town to move this storage container so that our flag program can continue and benefit our boys. I am on my way out as flag coordinator, so I'm trying to complete this in a timely manner. Our flags are our biggest fundraiser. Without somewhere to house them, we lose those funds. We lose our troop. Flag troop money goes to camping, supplies, activities, awards, banquets, all the things that benefit directly to the boys. We have been in Howe for many years, and I would hate to see that this program is stopped due to nowhere to keep the flags. I would like for it to be somewhere it's monitored so that it's not easily accessed and graffitied or broken into and destroyed, and our flags become unable to be used. In the past, we have used the sheds over by the police department, and we had to move out of those because the rat infestation was destroying our flags. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Were there any other public comment forums that we didn't get? Okay. We'll move on to our consent items. These items consist of non-controversial or housekeeping items required by law. Items may be considered individual by any council member making such request prior to a motion and vote on the consent items. They are, 1, discuss, consider, and approve consent items which are marked by an asterisk. Approve minutes of the regular council meeting, October 17, 2023. Approve the bills being paid for the month. Grayson County Library Service Contract. Does the council wish to discuss this?
I would like to pull out and discuss the bills being paid for the month, please.
Yes, ma'am.
On the individual check register, there's a check listed to Monty Walker for vehicle allowance of $384.62. Just so the council is aware, I did email Monty and ask him about that, and he said he was informed by the mayor that that was a part of the city administrator's contract. I wanted to have a discussion about whether that fell under the interim pay or not, just because I'm not sure where that falls.
Well, the city secretary had asked if she should give Monty the vehicle allowance or if he was taking the vehicle allowance, and I said if that was part of the previous city administrator's pay, then that's what he should get, and it was in the previous city administrator's contract. So that was the agreement that was given to Monty by myself originally.
But what was our agreement when we voted it in as a council?
I don't recall we actually nailed that down.
When you appointed Monty as the interim city without telling the council that one evening and you just did it on your own, you set his salary, whatever the current one was. Council had no input. It's an interim position. It's not a permanent position, so the council should have had input what a salary would be and what other benefits, including a vehicle allowance.
Well, we did discuss it at a later...
No, we did not discuss that. We did not discuss his salary, nor did we discuss his benefits.
You were correct on that, but it was discussed, you guys did approve to appoint him as interim when we did come to a regular council meeting.
Yes, we did, but we did not discuss the salary, nor did
Yes,
we
you are
discuss
correct.
his benefits.
You are correct.
So being an interim, he should not be
It was
paid the
given,
same salary as a permanent city administrator.
it was given to, I don't have I'd have to look it up. I don't have the form in front of me, but when I appointed him as interim city administrator, it was listed on that form.
That's exactly my point. You did it on your own without input from the council.
And I did it.
Is that true?
Yes, it isn't, because I followed the law that allowed me as mayor to do that. We had that discussion a few times.
No, we didn't have discussion about his salary nor his...
We had the discussion about the law. I did what was within my means as the law
I'd have to
allowed.
see that. Do you have that with you?
I'm sorry?
Do you have that with you so you can show the council the law that says you can set salary and benefits?
Let me see if I've got it.
So, Mr. Shepherd, Ms. Myrick, what would you like to do right now?
So one of my questions was, do we need to address the vehicle allowance for the interim city administrator? I know we can't do that today, so we would need to do it at a future meeting. But also, if it's a part of the payroll, why are we writing a check? Because I don't remember seeing checks to Jeff.
We would need to ask the city secretary that. Regina, would you mind coming to the microphone so they can?
You don't put her on the spot. In the past, it has been done both ways. It's been added into the salary, and it's also been a separate check. So it's been done both ways.
That particular day, payroll was already finished when he came in and said, the mayor said to go ahead and do the vehicle allowance.
So I guess my question is, where did the request for the vehicle allowance originate from?
I asked if, being it was 10-1, if the vehicle allowance was gonna go with him, because I know Mr. Stanley's was supposed to start, and it was started with his new contract, but he never took it up until he was gonna start at 10-1.
Okay. I don't know. I've never been on the council when we had a question about a bill that has already been paid. So I don't know if we have the ability to unapprove it until we have, or not approve it until we've had a discussion about the vehicle allowance for the interim city administrator.
Are we allowed, Mr. Tidwell, to take a vote on something like that because it's not on the agenda? Or how would that work?
If it's not on the agenda, you would have to post it for a future agenda and then discuss it and address it in a future meeting.
So the specific check in question,
I don't know the answer to that. It might depend on if, for example, if you decided to pay that, it would be payable, and if not, then that would be an additional separate discussion item.
and the reason I bring it up, just so the council's aware and the public, is because there has been a lot of public discussion about checks that were made out to people who work for the city. It's something I always look for, so I do think it's worth us making sure we know what we want to do here in case future questions come up.
Joe, the appointment paper, I have it on my computer. I don't have a paper copy, but I can read it if you'd like.
Well, I'd like for you to read law.
Well, it states law in this.
What's the law say? Does the law say you can assign a salary and benefits on your own?
No, it says that I can.
That's what I thought. I think we need to move on. I agree.
All right. So the question would be, are we going to approve the minutes, the 3 items on the consent agenda? Are they going to be approved as a whole, or do we need to approve them separately?
We need to do it separately.
All right. Each one?
Yes.
All right. So do I have a motion for the minutes of the regular council meeting, October 17, 2023?
I'll make a motion, we approve them.
Rodney makes a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Billy seconds. All in favor? Everyone, anyone opposed? None opposed. Do I have a motion to approve the bills being paid for the month?
I'll make a motion that item be tabled till next month, so we can gain more information.
So Joe makes a motion to table. Do I have a second?
I second.
Sarah. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Do I have a motion to approve the Grayson County Library Services contract?
I'll make a motion.
Sarah makes a motion.
I will second that one again.
Billy seconds. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None. Move on to announcements and updates. 1, the regular city council meeting on November 21, 2023 at 6 p.m. will be canceled because of Thanksgiving holiday. 2, Meet Santa at the Howe Community Library is Saturday, December 2, 2023 at 10 a.m. 3, the first Wednesday of each month is the Howe Hump Day breakfast from 8 to 9 a.m. Howe Hump Day breakfast is an opportunity for business members to network. The next breakfast will be held on Wednesday, December 6, 2023. 4, the Howe Silver and Gold themed Christmas Parade is on Saturday, December 9, 2023, beginning at 4:30 p.m. Businesses and organizations are encouraged to participate by entering a float. Please contact the Howe Area Chamber of Commerce for more information. And 5, the City of Howe will hold their employee Christmas party Thursday, December 14, 2023. We'll now move on to our action items. 1, discuss, consider, and act upon the zone change request by the property owner Frederick Price of 302 West Duke Street, Howe, Texas 75459, to change property zoning from SF2 to TF2 family, and adoption of ordinance number 810 affirming same. Property also identified as GCAD, property ID number 152612, Price, Frederick, and spouse Jessica Burns, approximate legal acreage 0.9504. That did not pass with the P&Z, so do we need to move forward with that?
The planning and zoning did deny this earlier. Again, we had one letter back from 27 that we sent out, and it was opposed to the change.
Thank you.
The city council would still open their public hearing, have public comment. You have the ability to either accept or reject technically it's a recommendation to vote for denial, but to overrule the planning and zoning, you would have to have a 3/4 vote, which would basically mean a 4 vote to overturn the planning and zoning recommendation.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and read the ordinance, and then we'll open it up to a public hearing. Ordinance number 810, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Howe, Texas, amending Howe zoning ordinance as amended to rezone a tract of land consisting of 9504 plus or minus acres of land located in the J. Hanning Survey. Abstract number 544, Grayson County, Texas, in the City of Howe, Grayson County, Texas, herefore zoned SF2, providing that the tract is hereby rezoned as TF2 family, describing the tract to be rezoned, providing a savings and repealing clause, severability clause, and effective date, and providing for the publication of the caption hereof. So we will open up this for discussion to a public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this ordinance from the public? Okay. Since we do not have anyone that wishes to speak, we'll close the public hearing, return to regular session. Does the council want to discuss this item further? So if there's no discussion, then we just move forward, or do they have to make a motion?
We would need a motion to either accept or deny the proposed ordinance.
All right, do we have a motion to accept or deny public P&Z's recommendation? To deny.
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
Okay, Joe makes a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Michael, all in favor to deny the request? Everyone, anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 2, discuss, consider, and act upon moving $50,000 from the General Operations Reserve to the Pool Fund. The General Operations Reserve has a current balance of $109,696.85. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Or do we need Monty to elaborate? Monty, would you please?
Mayor, Council, due to an unexpected GTUA expense that we got because we went over our minimum for the year, we were not ready for a $104,500 check or bill invoice from them. And the reason we went over is because we had to flush a lot. If you'll remember the reason, we had so many, if you remember, we had the water issues and we had to flush due to that. That's basically the reason we went over our minimum. So with that expenditure, we need to, I request that we move $50,000 over from the reserve with full intentions of moving it back once the ad valorem starts rolling in the first quarter.
How much over did we go?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mickey, but I think it's 50 million gallons.
And for the most part, we were not charging our citizens, rightfully so, for what we needed to flush, correct?
No, we had, apparently we had a set rate, and we weren't making adjustments for any kind of an overage for that, for the flushing.
So you do really think that we're going to be able to put this back into the reserve account? It doesn't sound like we have income coming in to make up for the...
Well, we will in the first quarter, once ad valorem starts rolling in, so we should be able to move that money back over.
Joe, I know you worked pretty closely on the budget, and this year is going to be interesting at best. Do you have thoughts about this?
What was the question?
About whether the ad valorem will be enough to be able to put this back into reserve?
Well, excuse me, we talk about budget, it's a budget. It's our best, from historical figures, our best guess what the ad valorem receipts will be based on the valuations and the tax rate. And it's always been pretty close to what we calculated. So if Monty watches the money closely, I have no doubt he'll be able to do that as soon as the first ad valorem check comes in. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
So we shouldn't have any other unexpected invoices from GTUA, the flushing's done?
No, that's an annual overage, and it'll be here in October again next year if we go over. We're taking measures to make sure we don't go over our minimum next year, however we can do that, whether it's more blend from another well source. But we are taking measures to reduce that outflow of the GTUA water.
That's all my questions.
Anyone else have any questions for Monty? Okay. Do I have a motion?
Can you not get by without it? I'm asking you, Monty, can you get by without it?
Not being in this position before, during this time of year, I don't feel comfortable without making that transfer.
All right,
I feel more.
I'll make the motion to transfer the funds.
I'll second it.
Okay, Joe makes a motion, Rodney seconds the motion to approve the moving of the $50,000 to the General Operations Fund. Do I have, who is in favor, excuse me? Everyone is in favor? All opposed? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Sorry. Ordinance number 809, an ordinance of the City of Howe, Texas, amending ordinance number 806. The original budget ordinance for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023, and ending September 30, 2024, for the City of Howe, Texas, funding accounts in budget due to unforeseen situation, containing findings providing for savings and severability. We will open this up for public hearing, allowing members of the public to speak if they should choose to do so. Does anyone from the public want to discuss this item? Okay, we will end our public hearing and return to regular session. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion?
For the benefit of the public, these are house cleaning items there was a double tap on a couple of them and different things that would need to be straightened out. There's not an additional cost. There's no additional expenditures to it, nor there is any expected additional revenue. It's just more of a journal bookkeeping type issues that we're dealing with. So I'll make the motion that we approve it.
I will second.
Joe makes a motion, Billy seconds. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None? Item number 3, discuss, consider, and act upon approving the street closure for the Christmas parade, December 9, 2023, from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. This affects 300 to 400 block of Beatrice Street, 300 block of Robert Street, 100 block of East Duke Street, 100 to 400 block of South Denny Street, 100 block of Davis Street, 100 block of South Hughes Street, 100 to 300 block of East Hanning Street, and 100 to 200 block of King Street. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Michael, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sarah, seconds. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 4, Noble Ridge presentation for the proposal road rehab program for Smith Road and Young Street.
We would ask that the council just pass this to the next agenda. We're still working on some details. In fact, I got an email on it this afternoon, so we would just pass that when we get all the details worked out.
Does that need to be an official table?
No.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Item number 5, discuss, consider, and act upon approving the preliminary Parkland plat for Connections Park. Does the council wish to discuss this item? Do I have a motion to approve?
I make the motion, we approve it.
Rodney makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sarah seconds. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None. Item number 6, discuss, consider, and consider repair and road closure issues and options for Bethel Road. Monty?
Mayor, council, I don't know if you've driven by Bethel Road lately, but it's really, really becoming an issue. So we actually barricaded it. Mickey and his guys blocked it off today. We've had some complaints on it. We even went to the measure of getting a quote to rebuild that road. It came back at a little over $38,000. I think you have the quote in front of you. There's a couple of options there other than rebuild. You can permanently close the road, but that would require petitions from the local landowners next to it, adjacent landowners, and it would also require a resolution from TxDOT. If the council would like for me to start taking that route, I can do so, or if you want to spend $38,000 on that road, we can look towards that. It's an interlocal agreement with Grayson County. It's a heavily traveled road, not mainly by citizens, it's by people in our ETJ. There is another route just to the south of it where people can connect. It's a little smaller loop, but that has historically been used by a lot of truck traffic, and that's why it got in the shape that it's in now currently.
Does council want to discuss this item?
On the east end of Bethel Road, where it runs into 902, is a very unique intersection. If you pull up, if you're on Bethel Road, you pull up going east, it's very, very difficult to see traffic traveling down 902. And as they come out of town, obviously, like most people except me, pick up speed and go over the speed limit going around that corner. I don't know if there's been a lot of wrecks there or not, but I wouldn't doubt if there was. I would make a motion now to authorize Monty to start the procedure to close the road.
I'll second that.
Okay, Joe makes a motion for Monty to
start
Work on
the procedure.
procedures to close the
There you
road.
go.
Michael seconds. All in favor? Everyone, anyone opposed? None opposed. Item number 7, discuss, consider, and act upon Grayson Central Appraisal District's resolution number 2023-02 for Grayson Central Appraisal District to construct or renovate a building or other improvements as necessary to establish or operate the appraisal office.
This was brought up last month, and I was the one that asked it to be tabled because we were unsure whether there would be an additional cost to the city of Howe, and I asked Marty to check into that, and you did, and there is no cost, correct? So then I would make the motion to approve it.
Okay.
second.
Joe makes the motion to approve, Billy seconds, all in favor? Everyone, anyone opposed? None opposed. Number 8, discuss, consider, and act upon entering an interlocal agreement with Grayson County for 3 separate street repairs. $10,626 for the stretch of Young Street between Highway 5 and Hughes, $36,865.40 for the stretch of Duke Street from South Collins Freeway to Highway 5, and $42,024.40 for the stretch of Quinlan Street from East Young Street to East Davis Street. The total for all 3 projects equals $89,515.80. Does the council wish to discuss this item?
This is budgeted for, correct?
It is in the budget. Monty, did you want to elaborate?
Yes, ma'am. Street repair in the budget was $196,210 for this fiscal year. So it does fall well with under that. The expenditures wouldn't take place until later in the year, which is a great thing, but it gets us on the schedule, so to speak, with Grayson County for the interlocal agreement.
For the public's good, how are these streets chosen?
So one of the first things that we did over there is get with Public Works, and Mickey and his crew, we all locked ourselves in a room for about an hour and made a list, and we went through that list, and those are the ones we came up with for this year. We've also got a list for next year. Some of them we scratched off and moved those into the next year's column. So.
Any other questions from the council? Do I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
A motion to approve?
Approve, yes, ma'am.
Billy makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sarah seconds the motion. All in favor? Everyone, anyone opposed? None opposed. Number 9, departmental reports. First up is Police Department.
Police Department answered 176 calls for service, generated 8 reports, made 0 arrests, issued 15 citations, and worked 1 motor vehicle crash. A total of 5 training hours were completed. And at the time that this was written, we had 1 applicant undergoing a background investigation, but that person has since been removed. Disqualified.
Does the council have any questions for the chief?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The Fire Department.
Evening, Mayor, Council. Howe Fire Rescue answered 59 calls for service for the month of October, being various structure fires, grass fires, MVAs, EMS calls, mutual aid calls. HFR has been busy with trainings on Monday nights, along with other various trainings, totaling 146 hours for the month of October. The EMS is still going strong. The final football game, we took Medic 21 out there since we are now licensed and ready to go to show it off to the citizens and run for the kids be there on standby. Just wanted to say thank you for the support throughout the past year while we get to make this possible for the citizens and the communities, and I'd like to thank you for all you do.
Does the council have questions for Chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement report for October 2023. 0 courtesy letters and letters were mailed out. There were 20 door tags that were placed out for violations. A verbal warning was given. 25 code violations and interactions were made and are corrected via phone call. 4 code violations interactions were made and are corrected via email. There were 7 in-person meetings held to correct violations. There were no permits signed off or completed. There were 2 Freedom of Information Act requests submitted and completed for June. 1 HVAC permit was transferred to Bureau Veritas. Animal services were officially taken over by All American Dogs. 2 case files were turned in for court. 1 issue was handled via the Grayson County Health Department. These actions totaled 64. And the fence replacement for Pradera along Highway 5 is finally finished and looks fantastic as opposed to what it used to do. There's a couple of kinks need to be worked out over there, but I think everybody's happy with the final outcome there. And as always, please continue to keep your grass cut. Shouldn't be very much longer if we don't have to do this for a while. Brush piles are going to be a big problem because of pests and varmints hiding in the bush to get warm and whatnot. So have those removed quickly and patrol your yards for a while now. We still have temperatures getting up. Mosquitoes shouldn't be a big problem, but keep anything that could accumulate water watched to prevent breeding of mosquitoes. And always make sure your outdoor pets have adequate food, water, and shelter, regardless of the temperature.
Does council have,
And-
excuse me, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Did you have a question?
I just was going to ask if the council had questions for Mr. Furr. Thank you, sir.
I do have this. This is kind of new. This is a report for the month of October that was sent to me via All American Dogs.
My apologies.
So they will be giving that monthly to me, so I just go ahead and do that, I guess, at these meetings. For All American Dogs report from October 1 to October 31st, 2023. On October 27th at 9:45 a.m., they patrolled the city and focused on stray animals. There was nothing picked up at that time. October 20th, 23, at 12:53 p.m., they had a report of 2 loose dogs in town. They patrolled the area but did not find any loose animals. On October 20th, 2023, at 9:45 a.m., they patrolled the city focusing on stray animals. It's backwards, my mistake. October 16th, 2023, at 12 p.m., they responded back to the previous address. Let me start over on this. On October 10th at 11:10 a.m., there was a report from an owner of their address was free feeding animals in their front yard. They made contact, and the owner stated that they were not their dogs, but they advised them to quit feeding the animals so they could catch and remove them. On October 12th at 9:46 a.m., they patrolled the city focusing on stray animals, which they did not find any. And then on October 16th at 12 p.m., they responded back to the previous address to attempt to remove some of the stray dogs. They were unable to catch them as they ran into the woods behind the homes. That was over on Timber Creek area, which is to be one of the areas we have people like to drop animals off into that where it meets the country. And that is all I have.
Any questions from the council? Thank you, sir. Public Works.
Mayor, Council, good evening. Since the last meeting, Public Works Department has carried out 74 service orders for 111 and a half hours of work performed. Of those 111 and a half hours spent on service orders, 71 and a half hours were towards water, 14 towards sewer, 10 hours towards streets, and 16 hours toward miscellaneous tasks. Public Works repaired 5 water leaks, hydrogenated 4 sewer mains for blockages, and replaced 1 faulty residential sewer tap. We also recently completed another first round of 20 lead and copper samples for analysis for routine TCEQ compliance and regulations. We've also got planned for a follow-up, another 20 samples to come along and be processed and completed by the end of the year. And then on another note, in attempts to improve water qualities on the east side of the Highway 75 corridor, and to also test the automated treatment process equipment and SCADA controls for chloramine residual production and monitoring at the existing East Young Street, better known as Well 2 site. Public Works has temporarily stopped the intake of purchased surface water from G2A and is currently providing chloramine well water source to the distribution system. Prematurely, this has had a positive influence on quality, with only some initial taste and odor issues reported during the initial changeover as crews worked to flush the system of the surface water. Residents, especially residents that might be new to Howe after November of 2022, may notice some changes. Some of those changes you might notice is going with the water source going from a hard water to a soft water. Some of the changes you might notice at your house is, for instance, soap will lather more with the well water than it previously did with the surface water we were using. Also in bathing, you may notice a difference of touch and feel, like a soapy, slimy feel on your skin when bathing. And those are just all natural, non-hazardous characteristics of the well water. And that's all.
Council have any questions?
I've heard some reports of citizens still having issues with water quality in Pradera.
Yes.
And I know that the interim city administrator and I had some conversation about having a meeting with Pradera management to discuss how to mitigate those. Has that happened?
We had some talks with them. We haven't had like per se a formal meeting at City Hall, but there has been some communications with Pradera. I know I've conversated with some of Pradera's maintenance staff as far as the needed flushing to occur and things of that nature to kind of aerate that discolorated water from the infrastructure.
Have you gotten less complaints at City Hall since that? Has there been a change?
Since the water source change?
Not since the water source change, because you'll be changing back, won't you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. We're currently on well water. Now, as far as any kind of water quality complaints pertaining to Pradera, if I believe that's what you're asking.
Yes.
As far as in the last 2 weeks, I have not received any water quality water orders for Pradera.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions from the council?
So you said you haven't received any water quality work orders. Have you received any complaints, or has City Hall received any complaints?
Even at City Hall, I have not received, well, I take that back. I have received one work order for water quality issues that was on the North 700 block area of North Denny Street. It was isolated. It was a single residence. It wasn't, and it wasn't associated with multiple residences.
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Monty will discuss economic development, the municipal court administration, and utility department.
Mayor, council, I've got a long list of stuff. I'm not going to read it all for time's sake. I'll point out the highlights for you. Completed intermediate incident command system FEMA courses, 300 and 400. That took 4 days to complete. It was extremely boring. We got it done. Getting requests for, we're getting several requests for food truck permits, and I'm putting together a structure for that, looking at kind of what Van Alstyne's doing. They've got a really good structure for that, and I think we might need to implement that next time we meet. Could be an agenda item to at least look at it. Also reviewing all current fees and working on an updated fee schedule with Nolan for all permits and developments. Updated the city website where all the agendas and minutes and live streams are all on one location now instead of having to scroll all the way down in your public requests and all of that to find them all. They're very easy to find now. The 2022 audit is still not complete. Last entered information took place on October the 24th. City sales tax for August was $58,913.64. Of that, $14,728.41 belongs to the Howe Community Facilities Development Corporation. For the year, $112,077.15, and for the corporation, for the EDC Corporation, $28,019.19. Summit Gardens has collected $12,780 in 2023. $3,710 in October. Future invoiced events for 2023, there's a plethora of them. I won't read them. It's going to take us all the way through the end of the year. It's pretty busy in here. The operating account for that business is the Collins Memorial Fund, which has a balance of $12,706. The Chamber of Commerce, well, you mentioned that, the Silver and Gold Parade. I hope everybody, it'd be nice if all council members had a float, maybe the mayor and Public Works and all that stuff. So that's going to be December the 9th at 4:30. And then the Chamber has, we got 2 new members the past 2 days, so we're up to 82 members for the Chamber of Commerce, which is, I think we've had 23 new ones this year, so it's pretty healthy. In court, our net $504.61 after we get through paying everybody. And utilities, for October, the amount billed was $230,520.53. There were 530 e-bills sent, 835 paper bills, and total number 1,243. Any questions? Thank you.
Any questions from the council? Thank you, sir. Executive session. The city council will convene in closed session pursuant to the provisions of the Open Meeting Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code, executive session as authorized by Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter, Open Meetings Act. Texas Government Code Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. Texas Government Code Section 551.074, personnel matters. The discussion items are Howe Commercial LTD Development Agreement Amendment, petition for release ETJ, Saddleback Connections Park, real estate matters, roadway procedures, interviews with and procedures for city administrator position, interviews and procedures for city fire chief position, personnel, city secretary, police department. If you are here for an interview, someone will call you back into executive session as soon as the council is ready for you. The council will go into executive session. The time is 7:29 p.m.
You said you have paper copies of those. I didn't know whether I needed to bring them.
It's on, and I didn't move it away.
He's on. Oh, he wasn't? Oh, I thought he was. I tried to turn it on.
The council will now reconvene into open session. The time is 9:58 PM. Ten, discuss, consider, and act upon any item listed under closed or executive session if needed. 11, discuss and consider and act upon Grayson County 147 LTD petition for release ETJ. There's going to be no action taken. 12, discuss, consider, and act upon hiring a full-time city administrator.
I make a motion, we table this until the January meeting, make a final decision.
I second that.
So Joe made a motion to table. Rodney second. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None? Number 13, discuss, consider, and act upon hiring a full-time fire chief with a start date of January 1, 2024. Does the council want to discuss this item?
I make a motion to hire Robert Benet as the fire chief for the city of Howe.
I'll second.
Beginning January 1st.
I heard it. I heard another one, but I will
Joe-
also second that.
Okay, so Joe made a motion to hire Robert Monet. Michael seconded. All in favor? Everyone? Anyone opposed? None? The council is going to, we will not be having a regular council meeting on December 19th. Our next council meeting will be in January. If there is no further business to come before this council, this meeting stands adjourned at 10:01 PM.
Hey, where's Luke? Robert.